Hey guys, it's Cal here from KR Sabers. So this is just a walkthrough video to go through how the thermal detonator assembles, specifically for a static prop. So I know a lot of you will be looking to make this prop as a static prop and not install the electronics, but either way, this is how you assemble it as a static prop, and then once the chassis is finally released by Cedric, Goth3 Designs, we'll be able to get some more instructions as to installing sound and lights inside here. So this is what you'll get in the kit. You'll get both hemispheres, you'll get the mid-ring, you'll get the accessories for the mid-ring, also the fasteners for the locking mechanism. You'll get the red clip light LED holder, the 2mm LEDs. You'll get some 3D printed parts like the rocker, the LED holders, and you get also the 3D printed panther track and the rocker for the top. You'll also get a switch, which we'll just put aside for today because we're not going to be installing any electronics, and you'll get the front LED holder. So let's begin and get started as how to assemble this. What I like to do is to get the rocker assembled first. So you've got this piece here, that is the top rocker piece, and you'll also have your 3D printed piece, and underneath the 3D printed piece there is some tabs which help the alignment. It is already sort of curved in the shape of the rocker, so it just sort of goes in like that. What you want to do as well is you want to make sure that you can just put a couple dabs of glue on the tabs. So these tabs that I'm talking about here that you can see, those tabs go on there. You see it just goes in. It does fit in sort of friction fit. This is the prototype one that's printed in grey. The final ones are printed in black. I did print them in grey originally, but Francisco told me that they're actually meant to be black because that's how they are on the kit. So I'll make them that way then. But yeah, so it just goes in like that. I just use I use like this Gorilla Glue because it has like a brush application, so it's really handy because you can just brush underneath it and it just keeps it nice and clean. So I use this sort of Gorilla Glue, and that will keep the panther track on there. You'll notice underneath the panther track there's a recess with a tapped hole. That's for the rocker. This is also the prototype one, and you can see that this groove fits in there. It fits in that groove, and there's a screw which is included with the kit that attaches that through the top hemisphere. So if we get the top hemisphere now and we pop that through like so, you can sort of see how it works, but you want the longer side facing away from the hole, if that makes sense. I'll just move these bits. So you want the hemisphere like that, so longer side facing away from the top hole, and you can see how that moves like that. The reason why this is the prototype one, you can see there's a bit of play left and right. We've made it a lot more snug this time. So once that's in there, you can drop your screw, just drop it through like that, and it will go through. And use your Allen key. This one is 2.5. You can also use these sets of Allen keys here as well if you want to, but I like using these like RC ones. They're just a bit easier. You can push that screw through and it will poke out the top like so, and then just get your rocker and tighten it. Once you've tightened the screw that's underneath there, you can start to dial in how tight it is. So right now you can see it doesn't really move front and back because I've done it super tight. So you can just loosen that a little bit, and you see now it moves frontwards and backwards. I'll probably just for the demonstration purposes add a bit of this glue. You'll see the brush applicator, which is really handy, like so. So what I would do is just get the piece, just wipe off any excess, because you only need a tiny bit, because it's this material, this 3D printed materials, it sticks quite well. Just 2 little dabs like that will do. Put put that away. And then put that on there. And that will stick on there nicely. And that will dry fairly easily. And that is how we assemble the top rocker for when we're making the static piece. Also in the kit, you'll get this red clip light piece. I'll keep that here for now because we're still doing the top. I'll put the other stuff aside as and when. And you'll have this piece. So you've got these two pieces. You've got the 5mm LED holder, just this. And you'll get also the clip light holder. Now on the clip light you can see there's some wider flanges, like here, here and here. You don't need those wider flanges, so that's why I've got the Y strippers. You just want to sort of snip them off, so if you just clip one then the rest come off fairly easily. So just remove the wider flanges. Like that. And then it just push fits into here. I like to just do it so that it lines up. So just push there like that. Sometimes you might need to just squeeze the tabs in because they sometimes expand out when they're being manufactured. And you just push through there like that. You can also push on a flat surface or something. But that's seated in nicely. It's in there ready for a 5mm LED to go in there. You shouldn't have to put any glue in because it's quite a tight fit, but it fits in there nicely now. Perfect. And what you can do is you can use some Loctite 603, which is a retention compound, after you line it up in place when you put it under this hole. So you'll see there's a little cutout at the top just here. That's to let sound through, but I like to line that up with the top rocker. So if I push that in, I like to line that up. So let's have a look. Yeah, so I like it sort of like that. And that's in there lined up how I want it. Obviously it moves left and right. So this is where you want to apply the Loctite. So once you've got it in place, you can get your Loctite and you just put a drop in between the seam. You should just suck that in. What you can do as well, because it has a working time, you can like move it left and right. Just hold it in place for a few seconds. And because the reason why this Loctite stuff is so good is the viscosity being so little, it just like uses surface tension and sucks into the gaps. And that's why you can do it with really close fitting parts. But also if you ever need to break the bond, you can. You just heat it, like heat around it. So that's the top one done. You can see we've got the rocker, we've got that installed in there, and it's looking good, starting to look like a thermal detonator, which is very nice. So we've got the top part done, and now we've got the middle ring. So in the middle ring you'll get some screws, and there's little LED like silver houses that go around the LED holders. They'll be sent to you like a tree because we print them in clusters so that it's a bit easier to print. So using your cutters, you just want to separate them. So separate one there, separate one there, separate one there, and you can see there's a little bridge between them. You want to cut those out so that they're just like, I'll show you. You want them all to sort of look like that, like this, each one. There's that one. And that one. So we've cut and trimmed our LED spacers, our LED holder, sorry, and then we've got these pieces. So you have 3 M2.5 screws and these small metal rings. Those small metal rings go in these holes. Now, when you're tightening these screws, don't over tighten them, because the metal on here is very small and thin. You want to make sure that you don't tighten them too much, because you'll bend the metal and then it will look rubbish. So you want a fairly small Allen key. It's 1.3 mil Allen key, and just begin to screw the screws in, but not all the way. Just begin to put them in. You can see the 3 tapped holes here. So take those grub screws. The reason why I say just to begin screwing them is so you don't misplace them or anything like that. Begin to screw them in. Okay. So all of them are sort of in now. We want to put these in first. So like that, because then you know they're in the right place. So use the LED to get them in the right place, and just turn until you feel the grub screw stop. So I can feel the grub screw stop there. Don't over tighten it, just once you feel it stop, that's it. So the first one's in, pull the LED holder out. It should just pop out like that. Now the ring's in the right place. And do the same for the other 3. So that's the rings for the LED holders. Now when you're installing your LEDs, they go into the holders like this. So they go and fit in there, and you push them all the way through. It's a little bit of a tight fit, so in the printing process you may need to sort of just file out that hole, or run a small drill bit through it, just run a 2mm drill bit through it, because the LED diode itself is 2mm. You can see that it fits, because it's holding it like that. So just run like a little drill bit through it, just to make it a bit easier when pushing the LED through. But you push it through from the back side, and then you can use a tool to just to get it in there nicely. I'm just going to use this, or I'll use a smaller Allen key just to get that in there, to sort of show you how it fits in. So you see it's in there now, and that's how you put the LEDs in. And then I'm just going to trim the legs just for the demo. So I've trimmed those legs, and then when you're doing your installation, you can obviously put those LED holders through like that, and that is where the LEDs will sit. I'm not going to glue them in at the moment, because obviously this can still be installed at a later point, but you just repeat that 3 times really. Happy days. So all 3 of the LED holders are in there now. So this is developing the spring mechanism. So you'll find in the bag, in one of the other bags, you'll have 3 M4 grub screws, which are spring ball grub screws, and you'll have 3 long Allen keys like that. Allen key bolts, or socket head bolts. Don't need the pliers anymore. We only need one more type of Allen key, which is a 2mm Allen key, just for the grub screws and stuff. And we're going to do the final assembly. This is where the fun begins. So on here, this is the inside of the bottom half. You'll see on there'll be a hole in the top ridge. This hole here, that's a stop, and you'll get a dowel pin, a steel dowel pin, which is included, and that gets dropped in there. I probably won't need any Loctite for this. So yeah, that one fit in there really nicely. So you'll see now, if I turn it towards the camera, let's have a look, it's here. So here, you see that little pin that I push through? That will act as a stop, and like a little registration marker for the twist and lock mechanism. And now we can begin setting the spring tension on the on the grub screws. So underneath here, you'll see there's these 3 tapped holes. These 3. That's where the grub screws go. This bottom part is where the spring ball will come from. So they need to be screwed in from the top, like so. So the way that these are screwed in, the same way for the spring-loaded grub screws. So they're in there now. You just want to start to screw those down. So if you look underneath, you can see them poking out the bottom. Obviously they're spring loaded. Now what you want to do is you want to set the tension on these grub screws for the dimples that are on the bottom of the hemisphere. So this hemisphere, you can see there's 3 dimples. There's a dimple there, you've got another dimple there, and you've got a dimple there. That's where the spring load for the grub screws goes. So what I do is I move it around to the right place. So that's not the right side, because you want it to be facing the right place when you finally do the assembly. So this one, so it's not that one. Oh no, it is that one. Yeah, because that's the front of the detonator, because you want it's like equal between these 2 points. And yep. So what I do is I hold it firmly down, and then I tighten these grub screws until I feel them pressing into that dimple. That's when I know that it's engaged. And the reason why I hold it down is because you want that tension still. So, and you can look inside as well as you're doing it. I don't know if I can show you, but you can see this gap that's in here. This gap, you'll be able to see the grub screw pressing into the dimple. So I'm obviously going to look at it from my side. So I'm just going to screw it. I wonder if I can show you. So I don't know if you can see just there. You'll see the grub screw going through and hitting the dimple. Maybe if I come up a bit closer, will it catch it? Yeah. So I'll look at that until the tension's set. So I'll screw that in. I'll do a little trial run to make sure it goes in there. So I think that one's in there now, and I'll do the other one. I'll just tell you, it's going to be a bit hard for you to see it on the camera, but you get the idea. Let's tighten that in there. You'll feel it, like you can hear that noise of it clicking in. And then the other one, there we go. So now when you hear it, hear that locking noise, that's it. You can tell now that it's in there, and it'll be locked in there. Then you've got these through holes underneath here. There's 1 through hole, 2 through hole, 3 through holes. That's for the other part of the hemisphere. So they go underneath. So you drop these in like that, like so, because the flange on them is what locks it together. You see that locks in between these gaps. So this one, you want to make sure we get it in the right place. So line up the holes. So that's not, there's the front of the detonator. Let's put these screws in, like so, and then tighten this in here. I want to tighten these. Like that. So we tighten these. So they're tight in the top hemisphere. We've done the grub screws, which are tight. So now a moment of truth. Let's find where you'll see there's channels in the groove. If I show you, you see there's little recessed areas, which is where you enter the so like here there's a little channel, and you've got here's a little channel, and you've got here's a little channel. That's where the screws will pass through to fall into the channel. So now So it's not that one, it's that one. And there, you see it doesn't fall apart, and you twist it to unlock, and then it will lock in there. So we've got a little bit of play, so that means that we just need to adjust the tension on the grub screw. So let's give that a go now, because might as well show how it's done. So we can undo these, so we'll give them half a turn each. I'll just pop these out. So let's give them half a turn. So I've given those half a turn. Pop this back in, line it up. And we'll find out where it needs to go. So it's not that one. There it is, that one. So now it's much less loose just by adjusting the grub screw. And that is how you assemble the thermal detonator, guys. You can see how cool it looks as a static prop. Really, really fun project this one was. It just looks quality, it's nice and heavy, made from brass. And this video guide is basically just to help you guys assemble it. And you know, you can have a nice cool static prop. And then obviously if you want to install the electronics, you just push down. So you push down it like that, and it just comes apart. And then when you're done, push it down, and it'll do it again. And you can adjust that tolerance, you can make it so it's nice and smooth. Obviously it just takes a few tries really. And yeah. So like I said, these will be shipping around the end of October. Just waiting on those 3D printed parts to arrive really. Because they're printed in professional plastic, they just take like a bit longer, but it's not a huge deal. I don't mind waiting, and you guys are really patient anyway. So yeah, and then the chassis will be released soon by Cedric from Goth3 Designs, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy building these and seeing them for what they are. Really nice, high quality pieces. But thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next video. Cheers guys.